Previously, Gabimaru gets betrayed by the chief of his shinobi village because he wanted to leave with his wife. This leads to his capture and sentencing to death. They try numerous ways to execute him, but none of them work. All the while, Sajiri documents Gabimaru's life and fearsome reputation of being a heartless assassin. We later learn that she is a very skilled executioner, and after the two fight, she reveals that he can get a pardon by the shogun if he travels to a mysterious island along with other criminals to compete to find an immortality-granting elixir of life. He promises to retrieve it to win the only pardon so that he can return to his wife. The story picks up with a flashback showing what led to Tamiya's capture. He was known as the Blade Dragon, who was unmatched in the 8 provinces. His dominance was so absolute that he stopped coming across men that were stronger than him, but he was asked by a lord to become one of his officers, so he accepted the position given the perks that came with it. The lord was a great man who took pride in his properties. During a drink to commemorate their partnership, the lord made a comment challenging Tamiya's title as the Blade Dragon. This infuriated him, so he destroyed the dragon's front gates of the lord and cut him down too. This caused the lord's whole clan to come after him. He was eventually caught and sentenced to death. The flashback ends when they arrive at the shores of the island. He confronts his executioner about his trade based on the dissecting tools that are visible for all to see. Fuchi educates him on his important work, which helps advance medicine, and unsheathes his sword, warning him not to insult their essential work. Tamiya backs down a little when he gets a vision of his intent. Moments before their encounter with the monsters, the infamous swordsman intended to eliminate all his competition before searching for the elixir, but this quickly changed with this new threat. All the while, Gabimaru analyzes the fish head monster wearing prayer beads, wondering if it's a living creature. One thing he is certain of is that its appearance is ridiculously fantastical, and his instincts are screaming at him that the island itself is dangerous. As he complains about the unwanted hassle, the fish head breaks its prayer beads and launches all of its arms to attack Gabimaru, but the ninja slips the punches easily and counters with a devastating kick that splits the head of the creature. But to his surprise, the monster catches his feet quickly and slams him on the floor. Sajiri watches on, worried, but she stops her call when the ninja sharply recovers from the attack. He reminds her to stay back. With his last assault, he has confirmed that the creature seems to be alive. He recalls his shinobi training. Their 5th code states that one doesn't fight an unknown enemy. Gabimaru contemplates running, and he looks back at Sajiri struggling with the butterflies, wondering if he should retreat with or without her. His thoughts are interrupted when the creature apprehends him with its tentacles and draws blood by squeezing before flinging him into the forest and onto the floor. Sajiri rushes over to make sure that he's fine as he looks at his hand, which is covered in red residue. He comments on the danger of the island, but Sajiri is more surprised to see that it managed to injure Gabimaru so badly. He suggests they retreat for now, but that plan is quickly shut down when they realize that they are surrounded by huge monsters. The duo stands there puzzled at the meaning behind their smiles as they close in on them. Sajiri tries to calm herself down so as not to lose her cool. Meanwhile, Gabimaru knows that the situation is dire, so he decides to fully give in to his instincts, and the results are terrifying. His eyes become clear as he dashes and takes out his first target in a spectacular fire attack. This guy is on demon time because he proceeds to show the creatures what a true monster looks like when he mercilessly mauls them down. All Sajiri can do at this moment is watch, unnumbed by this disturbing otherworldly sight, as it dawns on her just how dangerous the situation is. She is snapped out of her thoughts as one of the creatures comes up behind her, charging up an attack, but she manages to dodge. The centipede-like monsters try to hold her down as the creature prepares for another attack. Gabimaru sees this from the corner of his eye, but his instincts are telling him to focus on the enemies in front of him. He decides to save Sajiri as he detaches the hand of the monster before it can do damage. He gains consciousness as he holds Sajiri, but the fish head tries to attack them as they land, but it is intercepted and finished off by Genji. Fellow ninja Yuzuriha is impressed that he managed to exterminate all the creatures by himself. She introduces herself in a high-energy manner. Sajiri notes that she has 2 executioners. Gabimaru prepares to go off on them for interfering in his fight, but he remembers his wife telling him to thank people that help him, so he formally shows gratitude for the assistance. He quickly wants to ascertain their motive since they are rivals. Yuzuriha gets closer to Gabimaru as she advises him not to be on edge since the monsters have been taken care of. She comments on how dependable he is as they watched him save Sajiri. She's also impressed with his durability, which has been showcased as he's still standing despite bleeding so much. Yuzuriha tries to seduce Gabimaru as she pleads that they should work together, but she's scared of the dangerous place. Little does she know that our boy Gabimaru ain't no simp, but rather a Sigma king who is loyal to his wife. She finds out the hard way when he submits her, revealing that he's familiar with the kunoichi methods of seduction. She retreats, content that at least she tried and now knows that it doesn't work on him, but Yuzuriha informs him that she's serious about them working together since 5 is safer than 3. Sajiri interrupts, wanting to know why she has 2 executioners. Genji explains that he was originally assigned to Mikaya, but he was fooled and ended by Yuzuriha. He deemed that a single executioner was insufficient to control her, so he decided to accompany them. Gabimaru and Sajiri find his explanation questionable and quickly figure out that he was seduced by her. Sajiri points out that women have always been his weakness, so he fell for her tricks. Senta uses the silence to introduce himself, but he is cut off by Yuzuriha, who moves on to the next order of business. She reveals that they too encountered abnormal insects, monsters, and statues on their way. Since the place is so dangerous, finding the elixir as quickly as possible is important. However, there is no point in blindly charging in and dying without a plan. Gabimaru is surprised that she wants to work with him, as he reminds her that she called him disappointing before they landed on the island, but she tries to act oblivious to her past comments. Sajiri alerts him that she has no problem with them working together. Yuzuriha tries to hug him in excitement, but he apprehends her, stating that he never said he would work with her. He believes that one can't trust a kunoichi. Hearing the word trust makes her laugh as she does a maneuver that brings Gabimaru close to her. She informs him that they don't need to trust each other, uttering that they can betray each other at any time. Yuzuriha makes the good point that it is enviable as only one will be granted the pardon even if they both find the elixir. She's just suggesting that they use each other for as long as possible. He backs off as she tries to play damsel in distress, but he instructs her to stop the act as he wants to know how working with her would benefit him. Yuzuriha reveals that she wants him to offer his strength in exchange for the information she has. Senta brings some books out to show them. She gives him a taste of the kind of information when she enlightens that the real danger is the human-faced butterflies, not the giant monsters. The butterflies hang around the larger monsters, but their nests and behavior are still unknown. Their scales contain hallucinogens and poison. Gabimaru is interested to know how she figured all of this out. She confesses that she used Mikaya as a guinea pig to test the effects of the butterflies and tied him up to figure out the behavior of the other insects. She also reveals that the centipedes only eat dead flesh, so if left alone, they are safe. She finished him off after he outlived his usefulness. Senta adds that many of the items worn by the monsters feature Buddhist or Taoist designs. These are 2 different religious traditions, so it is strange to have them mixed like so. The statues themselves are unorthodox. From his observation, he is doubtful that the island is truly paradise. Sajiri agrees as she slices one of the monsters to prove that they are living creatures that can only be described as fantastical. Yuzuriha points out that there is still so much they don't know, so they should work together to gather more information. She tries to give a pity story as to why she wants to survive, but Gabimaru smells the cat, forcing her to reveal that she just doesn't want to die young. She warns the shinobi that caring about the lives of others gets one killed. After hearing her waffle, he concludes that he does want the information, but only if they are just fighting together and not fully cooperating. She goes for another hug to cement their new partnership, but he apprehends her again and tells her that he has a wife, so she should stop the antics. Senta comes over to share more information since they are working together now, but Yuzuriha halts him in the meantime. Sajiri watches them as they interact and wonders about what significant things she has contributed since she arrived on the island. As she engages in self-loathing, she begins to lose consciousness before finally collapsing. Things flash back to Toma, who became an agent of the Executioner's clan within a month of joining, which is unprecedented. Aizen was impressed with his skill and tells him that the final step is for him to finish his first criminal so that he can officially add his name to the list. Toma insists that he pick the criminal. He makes his way to Oz's cell and thanks the Bandit King for waiting, as it is revealed that they are brothers. Toma infiltrated the clan just to save his brother. Ozza complains since he was violently disciplined a little while he was waiting. He informs his brother of a way they can make the law stop pursuing them. Back to the present, the brothers find themselves faced with a group of those monsters as they look in shock. Toma reveals that his brother can quickly appraise the situation and understand how to navigate through it. They came from the samurai class, but their father was ended, which threw them into poverty, and their mother died shortly after. They were then attacked by some bandits, but with Oz's skills, they managed to assimilate into their ranks, and he rose to their leader. This occasion on the island was no different. He immediately begins to attack the monsters, but his weapon breaks. The Bandit King tells his younger brother that they are going to slip through the monsters, As they move, Toma gets captured by his long hair. Aza doesn't stop to help, but Toma still manages to free himself with a slice. The Bandit King comes back and finishes the monster off with a giant axe. He thanks his younger brother for holding them off, allowing him to grab it from the floor. He is happy to see that the monster's weapons are effective against themselves. One of the creatures throws a staff that hits him in the face, and to their shock, it informs them that murder is a sin. Toma believes that they are in hell, not heaven, and hearing their words triggers Aza, who goes on a rampage and destroys all of them. Through their entirety of the brothers' struggles, Aza has always been the rock. They also have the idea to end all the criminals and monsters before finding the elixir, but they are going to drink it and become immortal. Toma points out that the people they encounter will be dangerous since they also survived the monster's attack. Elsewhere, an unconscious Sajiri is being carried by Senta as their group moves forward. That brings the episode to an end.